our last video, you saw us falling flat on our faces when we decided to go to Haspin Acres. We ran through a creek. We think that the creek, the rock in the creek, tore one of the cleats on one of the stock Big Horns. You saw in the video where, and if you haven't seen the video, you should go back and take a look at it, where we put a plug in the tire right at the end of the video. So actually it was 2 plugs. So it took 2 plugs in the cleat, which is on the edge of the sidewall, to make it hold air. At that time, we put 15 PSI in it. Now, it's been quite some time since we actually filmed that video. So now we've got the tire, and we're going to talk about what we did to remedy the situation. But first, I'm going to take the tire pressure gauge, and I remember 15 PSI, and we're going to see if this tire that had the problem is still holding 15 PSI. Now, granted, it's been loaded for a portion of that. It hasn't been loaded in probably, what's it been? About a month?
About a month, yeah.
About a month, okay. So I'm going to turn this gauge on. You're seeing it live. Go ahead and bring the camera down here. We're going to hit it and see what is in there. Okay, it's possible that it's nothing. Yeah.
So it lost all the air.
It lost all of its air. So, you know, we put the couple of plugs in there, and there was a little bit of an internal debate. I don't think I got much pushback from the wife on whether or not we could just plug it and keep running that day. Looking back on it, we probably could have. But we played it safe. We packed up, we went home. Yeah, so we're completely flat. We've lost all the air on this thing. So, you know, it probably would have been okay, but it's going to be one of those issues where it's going to go flat if it's sitting in the garage for an extended period of time. So in the meantime, while it was sitting there losing all of its air, we were looking at Black Friday sales. We were looking at Christmas sales. We found a wheel that we like, or I guess maybe I found a wheel that I liked, and with permission, ended up going out and purchasing a 14x7 with a 5+2 offset. It's a Vision. I think it's a 356 BL Manx 2. I really like the look of the wheel. It's got a nice concave surface. So we've already had them out one time. One of the interesting things about it so far is it did not hold up to the strap. So we lost a little bit of the finish right here. We did go through the wheel, so probably not our best idea. You live and you learn, right? So we ended up going and getting 5 of these wheels, and on them, we liked the traction of the Big Horns. What we didn't like was how not durable they were. So we went out and we got a copy of the Big Horn. People call them the Journey P350. This is actually the Ocelot, and it's the Chaparral Motorsports version, Chaparral, however you pronounce that. It's a 32x10x14, and it mounted up, I don't want to say easy because it wasn't easy. Fell and busted my ass a couple of times trying to put my weight into it. I think we got a little bit of footage, so we could probably cut to that now. probably didn't get to see me fall and bust my ass in that footage, but know that it was very difficult. The wheels and tires came in during a time when it was very cold. Actually, when the shipment got dropped off, it was snowing as we were pulling them in. So you may have seen some of that footage on Instagram. The way they were shipped, and so this is a note for Chaparral, they were pack wrapped together. So when they came in, since they had been transported in really cold weather, they took a set, and those tires did not want to go on the rims very easily. So I think we eventually learned a trick. We inserted a couple of jack stands in the middle of the tire, and that made the last one considerably more easy to get on the wheel. We used some, I guess they're ceramic beads to do some balancing on them. I guess we've had them out one time. Didn't have any issues with them. So that's some footage that, will we share that or not?
Yeah, we could probably insert a few little shots.
All right. So you see that now. It's interesting because now we've got a square setup. So what I mean by a square setup, every one of the wheels and tires is the same exact size. So although they are directional and we could swap front to back to front for rotational purposes, everything's the same. So that took a little bit of getting used to. You lose a little bit of grip in the rear, but you gain a ton of grip in the front. So where the stock tires are an 11 wide in the rear and a 9 wide in the front, these are now all 10 all the way around. They are heavier. So people said, you're going to have issues with clutch engagement. You're going to break axles, all that stuff. We put this thing through a thorough, bashing, you might call it, when we were out last time. No issues whatsoever. Climbing rocks. It did really, really well. So the setup, if I remember correctly, and it's been a little while since we mounted them, but I think that they're about 58, 59 pounds wheel and tire. The tire itself is 41 and a half-ish. What's interesting about the actual tire is how true to size they measure. So we'll do a quick comparison with one of the rears. Now, granted, the rear's not all the way aired up, but the amount of air that we would run in this would not make it, change significantly. So in the back here, we've got the 32 by 10. It has a load on it. It's got somewhere around 10 PSI in the front. This is the 0 PSI tire that we just showed you, and you can see the difference here. So stock height's a 29. This back here is a 32. This looks like more than 3 inches. So these guys, the Ocelot, they measure about 31 and a half on the machine, whereas the 29s, you lose about a full inch on them. So there was a post on Instagram where we were high centered, and the comment was something like, it'd be nice to have a little bit more ground clearance. So with these, you can see the difference here is about 3.5, 4 inches. So take that, divide it by 2, we gained about 1.5 to 2 inches worth of ground clearance by going to the setup. And I was talking about the clutch because I wanted to mention that we really didn't have any issues with the clutch. The engagement point changed from about 1,800 RPMs to about 2,000 RPMs. So we did go up just a little bit more in the engagement point, but didn't notice any change in how the machine felt as far as top speed or acceleration went. You know, maybe it could use a clutch kit down the road, and we'll definitely put that on our modification list. But so far, no major issues with any of the parts, any of the driveline parts, the clutch, or anything like that. Machine handles just a little bit differently. Like I said, we got more grip in the front, slightly less grip in the rear. Not noticeably different to the point that you know, it's going to really upset you from a ride quality or a handling standpoint. So pretty impressed with this setup thus far. The wheels, we've got, gosh, what did we end up paying for those? I think it was around, we got 5 of them. I want to say it was around $850, $900 shipped for them. The tires were the amazing deal though. So we know that the P350, the Journey, and now the Ocelot, we know that they are Big Horn copies. I would recommend checking out Chaparral for these. They appear to be the same exact tire. They are an 8-ply tire. They've got the Big Horn knobby tread pattern on them. It is directional, just like the original Big Horn is. We got 5 of those shipped to the back garage door for $648, I think it was. So phenomenal deal on the tires. I think they retailed at the time of our purchase for $116, $119, something like that, and that included shipping. So go check those guys out. We definitely got a great deal there. That's not sponsored or anything like that. It was just you know, something that we've enjoyed it so far. So very positive there. That's about it. You know, definitely thank you guys for following along with us. If you haven't subscribed, please do. You don't understand how much that helps out every YouTube channel that you subscribe to or that you watch. You know, leave us a comment if you don't like what we're doing and you think we could do something differently that might be helpful. If it's constructive, we definitely welcome the feedback. Check out our website, ExperienceSxS.com, so sidebyside.com. But thanks for watching. We will see you later.